So Cursor is getting too expensive. Up until now, I've been using Cursor to do all of my building, coding with AI assisted coding, building web apps, building mobile apps, and I still love it and still do use it. It has its benefits. However, the costs of the platform are going up for users. And so if you want to build with Claude Sonnet-4, for example, you pay the $20 on Cursor, and then from there you pay based off of your usage and the token count and however much they're charging for it. It goes up pretty quickly. I spent uh, literally hundreds of dollars last month on Cursor, and it's actually one of the reasons why I had stayed on. Like the pricing was one of the reasons why I stayed on Cursor versus using Claude Code, which you have to pay $200 basically a month for the max plan on Anthropic, based off of like the amount that I would be using it. If I'm paying usage based on Anthropic on Anthropic, I'm probably paying thousands of dollars. And so that's why I stayed with Cursor. But we've got so many options now in regard to open source options, some of the Chinese models, and then with GPT-5 dropping, plugging in directly to the API is also an option too. And GPT-5 is significantly cheaper than Sonnet 5, than Sonnet 4. And so I'm not sure what I want to do. I will continue to use Cursor for different things. However, in this video, I want to show you how you can plug into OpenAI through your computer's terminal. OpenAI launched their Codex platform, their CLI command line interface, where you can called Codex, where you can plug into their different large language models, OpenAI's large language models, from GPT-5 to GPT-4, and I want to show you how you can actually build something, an app or anything really, directly from your computer and plug into their API. And so if that sounds interesting to you, basically an alternate way of going about building with AI, then definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications, and let's get into this. All right, so Codex is described as one agent for everywhere you code. So Codex, as it currently stands, you can use it within your paid version of ChatGPT. It can be routed from there. You can use it within IDEs now. You can use it within Cursor and VS Code, and you can also use it within your terminal, your computer's terminal. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. One of the reasons why I've started tuning in more to Codex is because I'm noticing that they're adding new features to it very frequently. And even though it's still a little bit disjointed in that it kind of just is, you have to sort of figure out how it all connects with each other, the local versus the cloud version versus the IDE. And it's kind of even the rollout of it all, they're just like adding new features, but it's also sort of like ethereal in a way. You can't really put your finger on what it is and how it operates in totality. But what I'm seeing and what I've seen is that it can work well from your terminal. And if you're familiar with Claude and what Anthropic has done with Claude Code, basically Codex within your terminal, the CLI version feels very similar to that, except you're paying a lot less. And so what you have to do is you're going to open up your terminal on your computer. You can go to, if you're on a Mac, Launchpad, type in terminal, and then you're just going to click on that. It's going to open up. And then you have to have Node. You have to have the program Node running on your computer. And so if you don't already have that, you can download it, Google for it. But you're going to type in, once you have Node on your computer, Node space dash version 22.17.0. And then you're going to type in sudo npm install space dash g space at OpenAI Codex /Codex. Now the sudo is, from what I understand, kind of like if you are an owner of a house and you go into that house and there's like a room in that house that you don't have access to or you need the key for, the sudo will by putting that in the beginning, you can now get access to that key. And so if I click enter here, it's going to ask me for the password to logging into this profile on my computer. And so if I put in that password, um, it'll now allow me to proceed. So then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to now get access to OpenAI. So you're going to type lowercase export and then space open uppercase underscore API uppercase underscore key equals. And now you need to type in the API key. And so if you don't already have one, you're going to have to go to openai.com and then sign up if you haven't signed up already. And then when you sign up, you can get to the API area. It's going to be in your profile. You can get an API key, and then you'll be able to track the usage. So this is my usage of the API over the past month. And what's been really cool about using OpenAI's API, the prices haven't been as crazy. I do use other platforms, Cursor, and I've used Quen and some others. So it's not just this that I'm using. But in general, my billing on the OpenAI API has typically been higher in previous months and even years now. And so it's nice to see the price coming down on this. And this is what this whole tutorial is about, right? Like how can you build more cost effectively? And so you'll be able to track how much how much everything is costing you when you are building here. So once you get that API key, you're going to come and you're going to paste it within here. So I'm not going to show you that key, but once you've done that, you're going to then type in Codex, lowercase Codex, and that'll allow you to now be connected to the API. All right, so after you've typed in Codex, lowercase, it's going to now basically ask you for how you want the setup to be. So you can have the Codex basically take control, and it won't ask for any approvals when it's updating and making edits, or you can have it require approval. So that's what I'm going to put, require approval. And then it's going to bring you to a area where it shows you different kinds of commands that you can use. So if you type in /model, for example, and then press enter, you can use these different versions of GPT-5. I'm going to keep it with what it is right now, which is GPT-5 medium. And if you hit /approvals, enter, it'll show you the different levels of access. You can give it full access. You can make it so that it can make edits and run commands, but it will need more of your approval, or it can make it so that it's just read only. I'm going to do auto. So you have different commands that you can give. And, if you're setting up a real environment here and you're going to be working on a project long term, you can create an agents.md file where the AI can have a document to refer to for how it should be, building and what your preferences are for that project. In this case, I want to go ahead and try out just to show what it's like to build within this terminal. What I want to do is I want to type in this fitness related idea that I actually have, but this is more so just to demonstrate how you can build with this terminal. So I'm going to type in create a fitness web app to help me track my workouts and include elements of game design in it. I'm going to click enter, and then you'll actually start to see it work. So if you've used GPT-5, it can be a little bit slower than some of the other models, but it's actually showing you the steps it's taking, implementing the fitness app, detailing gamification features, and it's taking steps towards what it's building, and then it breaks it down into the plan. So if you've used or are familiar with or have seen Claude Code, for example, this is kind of how it presents itself, where it now presents a plan and the steps that it's going to take. In this case, it's saying scaffold project files, implement data model and storage, build workout logging, UI, and so on and so forth. And then here's a lot of the code that's using, and it is actually just going to go ahead, and if it needs any sort of input from you or approvals from you, then you can provide that input or approvals. But otherwise, it's actually just going to go and do the job. All right, so it shows you how long it's taking. So it was about maybe 2.5 minutes. You see, it went through the whole project plan. Your FitQuest app is ready in the workspace and shows you how to run it. If you want, I can quickly add a minimalist PWA setup, which is progressive web app. All right, open index.html in a browser. All right, so I'm going to say go to the folder. I'm actually gonna say, can you put the files in a subfolder so it's organized, and then go to the folder, because what it's doing is it's creating these different files. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to organize all these coding files into one folder for this particular project, and then I wanted to go to that folder so that we'll actually be able to run the project. I do like that it shows you how long the step has been running for, but it is definitely slower than other models out there. At the same time, too, if you're running it, let's say within a cursor or an IDE, it's kind of pulling up these big blocks of paragraphs, whereas in this case, it's kind of more so giving you like a shorter summary of what's going on. All right, so now I'm just going to say go to the folder. I should have maybe said navigate to the folder. All right, I'm going to say this might not work, but I'm going to try it anyway. npm run dev. I should have said run the command npm run dev. So what I've noticed that you have to specify what the steps that you wanted to take. So if you wanted to go to the folder, you have to say go to the folder, right? Or if you wanted to run a command, you actually do typically have to say run the command npm run dev. But it's saying that it's adding a node static server, and then it'll start it via npm run dev. So maybe I don't have to do that, but we'll see. All right, so it looks like it did go to the folder, cd fit quest, the npm run dev. So we'll see what happens next. All right, starting a local dev server requires opening a localhost port. Allow command, yes. Yeah, this is literally the only thing. It just takes time for it to actually run. I mean, it's been 143 seconds right now. I know that Grok just released a new model that is the fastest of all the major models and closed source models so far. So I'm sure that would be a much different experience with this if it were to be able to get run within the CLI. Gemini has their Gemini coder as well. But price wise, this is proven to be the most cost effective thus far. I will also say, or maybe it's already running. Let's try this. Perfect. Okay, so it actually is already running. So I typed in the port number it gave, and so it shows like different sort of views here. And one of the things I like about GPT-5 is that it has I like the glassmorphic sort of vibe that it gives for what it builds. So yeah, they called it Fit Quest, and this is how it's presented, and it kind of has a gamified feel to it as well, levels and streaks and tracks, and you have these different views, also log, workout templates that you can create, and yeah, so this is it did it, right? It did it, and you're able to run it directly from this terminal here, and then you can literally just like exit out of it. That would terminate the session. But this is it, right? How to build a page, an app, or what your goal is, simply by using your computer's terminal. If you go and you look in your folders, you'll be able to find the FitQuest folder, the CD. So FitQuest is the name of the app, and this is as opposed to using the IDE, Cursor, VS Code, and what have you, and allows it to directly connect to the API. If I were to go and look at the API, 119 was how much I had spent before the project, and it's still saying 119 in fact. And so it's probably more like 120. Maybe it hasn't updated yet, but it's literally a penny, right? Like or I guess more like a dime. Usually like a dime, 10 or 20 cents, right? For what I've done to this point. And so I mean, significantly less expensive than if I'm using Cursor with Claude Sonnet, or if I'm using Claude Code, or the API for Anthropic directly. So yeah, an alternate way of building with AI, connecting OpenAI through your terminal, computer's terminal. I'm definitely going to do more videos like this, and for like other ways of building. I'm kind of on this sort of search right now for just like the most effective and just best setup really right now, based off of all the tech that's out there. There's so much that's out there, and you want something, of course, that's high quality, that's also going to be convenient for you as far as opening projects, creating new projects, not having everything all over the place. But this is one way right here, coding with the OpenAI Codex, which will continue to improve over time. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, happy building.